Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is all about basic watercolor techniques which helped me improve my skills when I started out watercolor painting. So this can be really useful if you're a beginner or just want to rebrush your skills. Here are a few basic exercises which might help you in understanding the water control, washes, depth and many more. So starting with the first technique, which is flat wash, I started by applying a single color using a round brush. Use a generous amount of water to spread the paint across the surface. Make sure the brush strokes are consistent so you don't end up with dry patches later. Moving on to our next technique, which is gradient wash. Here you can paint it either from dark to light or light to dark. Start with a darker pigment and add water gradually as you move across the surface. And the last one being variegated wash. Unlike the previous techniques, here you can introduce more than two colors. Just be sure that the paint is wet enough so that the colors can interact naturally along the way. So the next thing that really helped me understand watercolor is the classic wet on wet and wet on dry. Wet on wet simply means painting the surface that is already wet. So I pre-washed the paper with clear water. Here you can use either clear water or just a light layer of paint of your choice. Since it is wet, there is no much control involved. The advantage is that the colors flow into each other naturally without any hard lines at the end. The canvas or the paper is completely dry for the next technique, which is wet on dry. You have more control over the paint as it doesn't spread much in comparison to the previous technique. Also, it is useful when I want clear shapes or sharp edges as it is perfect for the final layers and highlights. The most repeated mistake which I did when I was starting out with watercolors was using black to get darker shade. It would change the original color and make it look dull and kind of muddy. So, in order to get darker shades of the same color, try using complementary shades on the color wheel. Or, the second best option is to mix burnt sienna along with the paint of your choice and apply a second layer of this shade over the given surface area. Now let's talk about how to lighten the colors. Using white to get a lighter color will not fix the problem as it changes the original shade just as black does. So I have mixed red with a bit of yellow as it makes red look bright and warm. I did add more water to the paint, and once the surface is covered with the required amount of paint, gently lift the water and color from the areas where I want the highlights to be prominent. You can also use a method called negative space painting, where you leave the area which needs to be painted by manually covering the area around it. If you find that hard to do manually, masking fluid can be of great help. The last and the final technique which changes the view of watercolors is underpainting and glazing. Starting with underpainting, which is the first layer of the color, this layer helps to decide where the light and dark shades of the painting will be. I'm not focusing on the details here, just the base color and values. So here I've used blue as the first layer, followed by green in the second. Using blue as an underpaint builds the depth, preventing the image from looking flat and also enhances the shadows of the image. Unlike underpainting, glazing comes after the first layer is completely dry. As you can see, I have painted the tree with the first layer of green and later used blue to add the transparent layer on top of it. The object is not to cover the layer but to enhance the color underneath it. You can try glazing with multiple layers as it builds the final look without making it seem heavy or overworked. So these were the few techniques which I learned when I started out with watercolors. Let me know in the comments if you did find these helpful, and thank you for watching.